This is Jim from Pennywise and the Rafts. You're listening to Dying Scene Radio.
Dying Scene Radio. Dying Scene, Dying Scene, Dying Scene. Dying Scene, Dying Scene Radio. Dying Scene Radio. Dying Scene Radio. Dying Scene Radio.
Hello.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. Hey, this is Bob from Dying Scene Radio. How's it going, buddy?
Good. How you doing, Bob?
I'm pretty good, man. Pretty good. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us about your new band, Wraths.
Yeah, nice.
The latest thing out of South Bay. Tell me about the band. I know that you got Steve McCall from 1208 in it, and a couple of guys who I don't really know who are in the Darlings. Tell me a little bit about the band and how you fell into this project.
I've known Steve and Chris from 1208, and they're also in another band called Pacino. So we did a tour, the Deconstruction tour in Europe years and years ago with 1208, and Steve was part of that lineup at the time. So known him for a while, and then just kind of loosely kept in touch over the years, and always liked what he did in Pacino. It was hard music, but it didn't kind of have that epitaph 90s skate punk sound, a lot of his stuff. So it was kind of different than a lot of the other bands from around here. So that's what initially kind of caught my ear when talking to Steve about his music and stuff. And then he kind of came around when I was doing the Black Pacific thing, and we played a little then. And then just recently he hit me up saying that he had a bunch of songs and they were looking for a singer, and he sent me the material. And very selfishly, I just said that I'd love to do it. Instead of looking for someone, I just made myself be the guy. And for some reason, they're willing to put up with an old veteran like me singing for the band. And then they were working with this guy, Drew, who was playing with the Darlings as well. So just a bunch of local guys with some time on their hands to play some music. And very different from the bands that I've done, and obviously Pennywise. Steve's writing a lot of the music, and along with the other guys, Chris writes as well. But he has his own sound, and it's very different. He has a very angular approach to the guitar, a lot of challenging parts for me to write lyrics to. So it was a fun process in that we kind of were making music that really didn't sound like anything else. So that was kind of fun for me to have a new outlet for some creativity. So it's been cool so far. We're really stoked to be playing.
Yeah, I guess anytime that you get the opportunity to break out of your shell and try something different that's going to challenge you, seems like that's got to be the opportunities that you got to jump on. So it's very cool sounding, man. It sounds a lot to me like it has more of an old school sound. Was that deliberate?
Yeah, absolutely, especially when it came to the recording. I've always struggled with that in the past. I like all kinds of music, but I was raised on, obviously, the early South Bay punk bands, Descendants and Black Flag, and just love that really warm sound of their recording, a very raw sound. And it was hard to get that because with the 90s skate punk stuff, and our band was a big offender in that as well, we all tried to make it sound very, very good. Everyone was getting into studios, and then Pro Tools came along. And No Effects and Bad Religion, we were all studio heads, and we really wanted it to be really tight. You know, the music we played was pretty muscular and fast with a lot of changes and things like that. So the recording got better and better, and we kind of lost some of that rawness and immediacy. And I really wanted to get back to, for both Pennywise and this Wraths project, just going in there, playing it live and recording it in a couple takes. Because when you do like 30 takes of the same song, you're going to lose something. And I think we fell victim to that in Pennywise and some of their later albums, where we would just hammer it until we got it perfect, and then we kind of lose some of that spontaneity that you need to have in punk rock. There's got to be rough edges. There's got to be some flat vocals. There's got to be a couple guitar parts that aren't right in the exact right place. There's got to be some drum fills that are out of time. But that messed up part of punk music and hard music is what gives it character. And I think a lot of the 90s skate punk bands really started sounding homogenized. And it was great music. It always blows my mind when Lagwagon and No Effects can come out with another album in the same genre, recorded the same way. That excites me. Like the new Lagwagon is a great record. The No Effects Coaster album is a great record. It doesn't at all deviate from their formula of what they've done their whole lives, but it's amazing that they can continue to make it something that I really like a lot and really interested in hearing. So it is a challenge, though, for us to make music that sounds immediate, that has an important outlook, and is something that I'm excited listening to. It's been a challenge working with various people at various studios to try and get the exact sound that you want.
Do you have a favorite engineer, or do you guys do things yourself? I guess I'm directing more towards Wraths. I know that you guys did things that yourself, but with Pennywise, do you guys always use the same engineer, or do you try other people, or do you do it yourself?
Well, with Pennywise, we work with various people. I think Joe Barisi was probably one of my favorite guys to work with. Also, Jerry Finn, who passed away, was really great as well. We did some of our later albums a lot at Fletcher's studio, where that was difficult not having someone with a real vision like Joe Barisi does. He kind of really came in here and put the pins to us to do it his way, which we really needed, because when you leave us alone in there to do it, it gets a little crazy. But with Wrath, which was really cool, is everyone knew the material extremely well going in there. We practiced once a week. We're always playing and working on the songs, and Scott and Pat, who is part of Screaming Leopard Studios here in the South Bay, small little studio that Fletcher happens to be a part of. But we just went in there and we'd do one or two takes, and I would ask Pat, do you want to do another one? And he'd just say, why would you do another one? Everyone sounds exactly right. Why bother? So we were able to do the whole EP in just one day, pretty much, maybe 2 days. That's what I really liked about it. It has that really raw sound. It doesn't sound overproduced. It's just, when we played live, it sounds exactly like that. So that's really cool. It was just absolutely stress-free playing with these guys. They know exactly what they're doing. They knew the exact sound they wanted from their amps and their guitars, and it was really effortless in that sense. And, obviously with Pennywise, you're going to have years and years of us doing different records. Everyone kind of wants different things. And instead of it getting easier, it probably gets harder each year, and try and put out music the way you want it to sound. Everyone has a different opinion on how things should sound. So we just kind of did it our way.
I got to agree with you, Jim, man. It's like, know your parts, get in there, bang it out, keep it raw and real. After all, it's just punk rock, right?
Exactly. And, people do care a lot. People care more than you think about how it sounds, even stuff that does sound off the cuff. People put a lot of time and effort and energy and blood, sweat, and tears into making it sound like it was just recorded really quickly. So keeping that artifice out of it's really important, and doing it just like I said, going there, plugging the stuff, mic it up, and record it is absolute best way to do it. And I hope future Wrath records will be that way, as well as Pennywise records, because I really honestly don't think, not to take it back to Pennywise again, I really don't think anyone has really captured what we really sound like when we're playing without microphones in our faces, or in a studio environment. I think we sound a lot different live. It's a lot more powerful and more explosive live than it is in the studio. It just gets kind of pasteurized in the studio somehow. And I'd love to just do a record where we really just have that feeling of we're just going to do one take of every song, and how it sounds is how it sounds. So, and that's what we did with Wrath, and that's what has made it such a rewarding experience with these guys, is that, we just did it that way, and I've always wanted to do it that way.
Now, you guys have just posted, it's not a video, but you've released a song this past week on YouTube for I'm a Target. Now, my question is, are you guys going to do a physical release with this? We're going to keep it underground? Or is it just going to be just mainly for digital distribution? What are the future plans as far as getting the music out there to the people?
That was another thing that we wanted to keep it really low-key. We found a way online to put the music out there through things like Bandcamp and TuneCore to make the music available. I really didn't want to do the whole song and dance of taking it to labels and things like that. We just wanted to have the music available for people to buy. We have been talking with someone who would like to put it out as vinyl. But we just wrote about probably 3 more songs that I'm really excited about, that are really cool and kind of different. We kind of feel like the first 7 songs kind of established the band as pretty unique sounding and still having a hard edge. But it's hard really to say. I've heard a couple of people say, oh, it sounded like Bad Nasty. Someone said it sounded like Dead Kennedys. And someone else said it sounded like Black Flag. And I was like, that's perfect. I don't want anyone saying, oh, you're just trying to sound like Rise Against. Oh, you're just trying to sound like Bad Religion again. I really like that people are getting different vibes. Someone even said we sound like Motley Crue on one song. I was like, that's cool. I'll go with that. But,
what era Motley Crue?
Yeah, it was, Oh God sounds vaguely similar to like the first Live Wire song from Motley Crue.
Okay,
So that
cool.
was really early Motley Crue.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I was actually in a battle of the bands with Motley Crue in my first band when I was about 18 years old. I still have the flyer of my first battle of the bands was with Motley Crue at a rec center. It was this band called Joe Nobody, and we were just like little kids playing Clash cover songs, so it was really bad. And yeah, they won, we lost.
Oh, that's an awesome story, man.
But yeah, we've got these 3 new songs that are a little bit different, but they still have good energy. But I want to get those recorded, and then if down the line someone wants to compile that stuff into a proper album and put it out, that's great. But right off the bat, we just wanted to put it out there the easiest way to do it. And places like Bandcamp are a pretty cool site for that.
It's been said already that you guys are wanting to play some backyards and doing some shows, but is there any talk of tour plans, even a short run, or are you guys just sticking over there in California, in the South Bay area, being a local band?
We got offered to do a 40-0 reunion show that I was hoping to be able to do, but it's very low pressure. The guys, everyone has families and jobs, and obviously at Pennywise, they've been in bands, they've done van tours across the country, they've done it enough to know that we're kind of at an age now where we can't just go out for a month in the U.S. and hope for the best. It'll be more like if there's a cool show that we can get on, or we end up wanting to do a quick run in just California or like a Southwest region or something like that could be cool when Pennywise doesn't have stuff going on. But right now, it's just the cool thing about it is there's just no pressure, and none of us are putting any pressure on each other to do anything. But we still practice every week, and everyone's really involved in the creative part of it. We're doing a video for one of the songs with a local artist who has a really warped, kind of crazy idea for one of our songs. It was funny when he mentioned the theme for the video, and it was 18th century heaven. And he has this crazy concept for the video. It was really amazing. So he's working on that now. And we're also working with this other artist on another video idea for our song Black and Wine. So it's really hard when you've been a band that's been together almost 30 years for people to make decisions. Like Pennywise, we couldn't decide on a video for our last little release because everyone says, I think it should be a backyard party. Well, I think it should be a kid, at school acting out the song. And then so we just don't do anything because no one can agree.
Right. Yeah. That's
And now when you have a band this young, everyone's just like, yeah, it sounds good. Or I don't care. Do whatever you want. It's like you're not worried about making missteps. You're not worried about alienating your fans because you don't have any yet. You can do whatever you want.
It's nice, man, because you can take that step back and have fun with it again, I mean, not that it's not fun to go tour the world with Pennywise. I'm sure it has its perks, but, just keeping it real and just, bringing it back to what brought you there in the first place,
Exactly. I know it's tough for everybody. It's not just me. It is tough when your band has a lot of expectations on who you are. Obviously, in the social media age, you're going to get all kinds of people trying to decide for you what is right for you, what is right for the band. Now they're very protective of the sound, of the behavior, of all kinds of things, and they'll be very alienated. If, let's say, Pennywise were to put out a video for our last record that, half of our audience or fans out there didn't like, it would be upsetting for them. And that's probably why we can't do something, is we're so protective of that, of like, well, we don't want to look like we're doing this to these fans, or we don't want to do that, or they'll bum out if we don't look hardcore enough, You have all these crazy considerations that it is nice not to have those. We can just kind of make stuff just because it's fun and we like doing it.
Yeah, I never considered that much thought really had to go into it, but I can see your point, and that you're absolutely right. You have to protect your brand, and like it or not, whether that's the label that you want, that's kind of what a lot of bands are out there. Once they reach a certain plateau, they are a brand. I think the Pennywise are, but Wraths, man, totally kick-ass band. I really enjoyed the new stuff, the 7 songs that you have out. Are you guys doing any cover songs if you do anything live?
You know what? We played our first show. You can see it's on YouTube.
I saw it.
For Felony Records. We played our first show, and they said, well, we're going to give you guys a 40-minute set. And then we played all 7 songs, and they're all under 2-minute songs. So we literally did our sets, and it was about 16 minutes with talking in between songs. So 2 days before the show, we said, well, we better learn some covers. And so we did Fix Me by Black Flag, and we did Breathe by Nirvana. It was literally like, well, what other song can we do? And he said, well, I know Breathe by Nirvana. And we literally started playing it right then, and we tried it at Soundcheck and played it that night. So pretty ridiculous, but I think there's room for more covers and things like that. And once we write a few more songs, we'll have a full set. But right now, I can only fill about 20 minutes.
That's awesome, though, man. Hey, Jim, I know that your time is valuable and you probably got lots of things to do, but I do have one more question for you.
Sure.
Being a parent, you have 3 daughters. I have 3 daughters myself.
I feel for you, man.
They can't all be perfect, but they are all great to me. But I got to ask you, man, you know, I did read your book, Punk Rock Dad, but I'm curious just how it is that you are able to juggle your family life with your 3 daughters, with not only doing, you know, an upstart Havoc TV, being on the board of directors with the Surf Rider, the list goes on, and all your band projects. How do you maintain a happy home life, man?
It's pretty much impossible. I would say the hardest thing right now is juggling the needs of the band and the needs of my family and my kids. And you couldn't have called it a better time because we're going through that right now. And it's obviously a very difficult part of the band for me because I've got my daughters graduating high school in June, and there's a lot of year-end events and recitals and things going on in June that I've missed in the past and that I really need to be there for my family. You know, everyone's seen that movie where the kid is at the recital or giving the speech and he looks out in the crowd and dad's not there. There's an empty chair next to mom or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
It's tough for the kids, you know. I know that straight up. You know, I know my daughters have wanted me at certain events where I couldn't be there because I'm on tour. And unfortunately this year we got an offer to do the Amnesia Rock Fest, which is a huge festival up in Canada. But it's right the weekend of graduation, and I had to turn that down. And then another festival came in on the exact day of her big recital, just came in, and I had to say, hey, guys, you know, I've got to be there this year. You know, I just can't do it. And the guys in the band get very pissed about that because those are big shows that they want to play, and I'm holding them back. So you can imagine it puts me in a really, really tough situation. And I really hope a lot of the people out there, our fans, understand that I would never betray my fans like that was said about me before, or that turn my back on the fans or things like that. That is just absolutely ludicrous. You know, I'm trying to juggle the health of my family and the band and do everything I can to make it all work and keep it balanced. And it's hard for everyone to be supportive of each other in that situation, especially because guys like Fletcher don't have kids, so he can always go. It's difficult in that situation, and these things do come up, but hopefully we work through it and try and support each other. But that's when the problems do arise. One thing a lot of people need to understand is I think everyone that I know, all the other dads and families, a huge percentage of them are now divorced because of the pressures in bands like Bad Religion and other bands where you have a guy, the dad is always on tour all the time. It leads to the breakup of families. It's tragic because the pressure's there to be superhuman when you've got to travel so much and play shows for your fans. A lot of times you have to have a lot of understanding there, and sometimes bands don't have that communication and understanding. It's easy for things to fall apart. And for me, that happened in 2009 where it was just, hey man, this isn't working out. I can't be the bad guy in the band and also risk the health of my family. So it was very different from what outside world probably thought was going on. It was like, hey man, I love Pennywise. I wrote a lot of the material songs on guitar and vocals for Pennywise over the years. It was something that I loved and gave a lot of my life to. So it wasn't something I wanted to do, but it wasn't also could be a situation where we were going to have so much conflict over the touring and having that be such a difficult situation. So to answer your question a long way, yes, it is difficult, but at the same time, I wouldn't change a thing in that, you know, I love playing music with Pennywise. I love playing music with Wrath and all these bands, and I love doing it. I'm just doing my best to find that balance, just like any other guy who works a 9-to-5 job or has to travel. You do your best you can and try and keep it balanced, even though it seems impossible.
I know that you know what to do, man. And, you know, I, for one, will never, ever give you any problems for taking care of your family, man. And I think that most people probably understand that. But, Jim, it's been such a pleasure talking with you, man. I'm sure that you and I could probably talk for 3 or 4 more hours. But,
yeah.
We only have a 2-hour.
Well, yeah, anytime. I'd love to, you know, I think it's a really cool thing you guys are doing over there, you know, and Yeah, I think there does need to be more stuff for like dads and people in the music industry. Obviously, the terrible tragedy happened with Tony Sly and things like that. It is important to remember not all these bands are 20 years old with no responsibilities. You know, you never put punk rock and fatherhood together or parenting together, but they're going to happen. So it is important to expose those truths out there.
And they really can coexist, man. And there will be other festivals, but your daughters only graduate one time. Well, at least high school.
That's right.
My oldest daughter graduated last year, so it was a proud moment for me, and I'm sure it will be for you as well, Jim. So
appreciate it. It's great talking to you.
Anytime, man. I really appreciate your time.
Die!